and welcome to Andy and Jane Kay, Bringing Hope. I'm Reverend Andy, and in this Door for the Word I'm going to be talking about the poems in the Pentateuch. The Pentateuch. And for those who don't know what the Pentateuch is, it's the 5 books of Moses, or the law of Moses. The poems in the Pentateuch. Now, the Holy Bible is an ancient book, and it's broadly composed of 3 types of writings. We have narratives, stories, although they're not stories, they're never stories, they're actually narratives of actual accounts of things. So there's narratives, then there's poems or songs, and then finally there's prophecies. So that's narratives, poems and prophecies. So let's look at this Pentateuch, this 5 books of Moses. So in Genesis chapters 1 to 11, there is a collection of small, self-contained narratives. And at the end of each narrative is a poem. Now you might find that quite strange as you're reading through the book of Genesis. You're reading all these narratives, all these events that are recorded there, and at the end of each one of these is a little poem. Have you ever thought about it? Have you ever thought, why is that there? Might seem a bit strange to you. Maybe you've never noticed it before. Well, have a look now when you read it. Each poem is the final word of the central character of that narrative. It's a statement about the events of the narrative. The use of the large and smaller poems in the Pentateuch, or the Law of Moses, establishes a context for the reading of the narratives. The author, capital A, because it's God, I mean, God uses human agents to write the words, but God is the actual author. The author wants us to view the accounts recorded in the Pentateuch within the context of the prophetic hope of the coming messianic king. Thus, the central theme of the need of God's grace and redemption, and at the same time link those themes to the coming messianic king and his kingdom, the large poems. This suggests that the central issues in the message of the Pentateuch overall is the coming king and his eternal kingdom. The collection of poems gives a cohesive link to an otherwise loose connection of independent narratives. Spliced into the table of the 70 nations is a brief account of the building of Babylon. Now it's in Genesis chapter 10 verses 8 to 12 and Genesis 11 2 to 4. And I'll read this. As the people migrated from the east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar, or Shinar, and settled there. And they said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks and burn them thoroughly, and they had brick for stone and bitumen for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its top in the heavens, and let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be dispersed over the face of the whole earth." See, what we see here is the people of Babylon want to make a name. The Hebrew word used here is Shem. A name for themselves, a Shem for themselves. This is man acting for himself, wanting to make a name. And you see, they're going to put a great deal of effort into this, building this great tower to make a name for themselves. And they have a purpose for it. They want to be a cohesive nation and not to be scattered over the whole face of the earth. But what we read in Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 to 3 is very, very different. See, God comes in here. And God promises Abram that he will give him a great name, a great Shem. It's the same word. And it reads like this: "Now Yahweh said to Abram, go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land that I will show you. And I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and to him who dishonours you I will curse. And in you all the families of the earth will be blessed." Now, Noah's poem provides the interpretive context of the building of the city of Babylon. That's the poem that comes at the end of Noah's narrative. So let's look at these poems. So here's one, Genesis chapter 2, verses 21 to 23. It's Adam's short poem about his newly fashioned wife. "So Yahweh God caused a deep sleep to fall upon the man, and while he slept, he took one of his ribs and closed up its place with flesh. And the rib that Yahweh God had taken from the man, he made into a woman and brought her to the man. Then the man said," now here's the poem, "This at last is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man." Genesis chapter 3, the next one, the next poem, Genesis chapter 3 verses 14 to 19, this concludes with this poem. And here's a bit of the narrative, and then it concludes with a short poem. So it reads this: Yahweh God said to the serpent, "Because you have done this, cursed are you above all livestock and above all beasts of the field. On your belly you shall go, and dust you shall eat all the days of your life. I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and her offspring. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel." To the woman he said, "I will surely multiply your pain in childbearing. In pain you shall bring forth children. your desire shall be contrary to your husband, but he shall rule over you. And to Adam he said, because you have listened to the voice of your wife, and have eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, you shall not eat of it. Cursed is the ground because of you. In pain you shall eat of it all the days of your life. Thorns and thistles thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for you. And you shall eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your face you shall eat bread, till you return to the ground. For out of it you were taken, for you are dust, and to dust you shall return. So that whole passage there was the poem. Prior to that, we have the narrative about the fall in the Garden of Eden. Remember what happens? The serpent comes along, tempts Eve. She looks at the fruit. She sees it's desirable. She takes and eats of it, breaking the commandment of God, and she gives the fruit to her husband Adam. He eats of it. The eyes of both are opened, and they see each other as naked. And God eventually has to come and seek them, and he has to slaughter an animal, skin it, and clothe them because of their nakedness. You know the narrative. I encourage you to read it if you don't know it. But this is the poem at the end of it. This is the poem at the end of that. So now we come to the next one. It's in Genesis chapter 4, verse 23 to 24. It's the account of Cain that concludes with this poem by Lamech. It's Lamech's poem. And we read this. Lamech said to his wives, Adah and Zillah, hear my voice, you wives of Lamech. Listen to what I say. I have killed a man for wounding me, a young man for striking me. If Cain's revenge is sevenfold, then Lamech's is 77-fold. So that's that poem. The next one is in Genesis chapter 5, verse 28 to 29. The genealogy that's there concludes with another of Lamech's poems, where we read this. Lamech lived 182 years. He fathered a son, and he called his name Noah, saying, out of the ground that the Lord had cursed, this one shall bring us relief from our work and from our painful toil of our hands. So we have this one here in Genesis chapter 6, verse 9. And it's the account of the flood. And it concludes with Noah's poem. When Noah awoke from his wine and knew what his youngest son had done to him, he said, cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be to his brothers. He also said, blessed be Yahweh, the God of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant. May God enlarge Japheth, and let him dwell in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant. So, in conclusion, don't miss these poems. They're there. We must pay attention to the poems in the Pentateuch, because the collection of these poems gives this cohesive link to an otherwise loose set of independent narratives. It binds them together like it stitches them together. These poems, they kind of stitch and link one narrative to the next and to the next and to the next. So there's something to be treasured, there's something to be pondered on, and something to be given attention to, and not just read and missed. They have great worth and great meaning. So I hope that brings you something today of worth. These poems of the Pentateuch, you may have not noticed them before, but I hope you do now if you've never done so. So that's it for today. I'll say don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and also hit that notification bell for when new material comes out. And I'll say this is it for this Door for the Word. So until we meet again in this studio, I'll say bye for now.